Hey guys, this is Spark Plus Ultra here, and this is my part 3 on what if Deku had courage, Toon Force. Is there a doctor in the house? And I hope you like this video and hope you subscribe! In the morning, in the Muriel, Eustace, and Zuki's new house in Japan, Muriel makes breakfast, and Eustace basically reads the newspaper, and Zuki goes on the table. But when he was on the table, Eustace looks and says, "What are you doing on the table?" Zuki says, I'm not! Getting off of the table quickly. And then Eustace goes back to his reading to his newspaper. And then Muriel says, "Alright, here's your bacon and eggs, Eustace, and here's yours, Zuki." And Zuki then eats the bacon and eggs. And Muriel then says, "It's such a great thing to hear that you're going to UA, isn't that, Zuki?" And Zuki says, And Muriel looks at Eustace. "Isn't that right, Eustace?" And then Eustace says, "Who cares?" And Muriel says, "Eustace, it's a very big deal, you know." And Eustace says, in look of not caring. And Muriel says, "He could save most people if he wants to." And Eustace then does this, blah blah blah. And Muriel looks with annoyance, but is happy to see Zuki helping and doing his own thing. But she warns him, and don't be so careless with other people, especially those that want to harm you. And Zuki then nods. When Muriel was walking without looking, Eustace looks at Zuki, and when he looks back at the newspaper, he then puts on a scary mask and says, "Booga-booga!" And Zuki then screams, "Ah!" And popping his eyes out of Toon Force effect, classic courage style, with having his heart beat with every pulse. Bum 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 bum. And then Eustace laughs. And then Muriel punished him for that with a rolling pin to the head. "Ow! What did I do?" And Eustace says. And Muriel looks at him with a look of disappointment on what he's doing. And Eustace doesn't really care. And Muriel says, "Zuki." She comes close to him, says, "Don't let anybody push you around, especially him, alright?" And Zuki says, And then Muriel says, "That a boy," with a smile on her face. And Zuki goes to UA and looks at the UA building and drops his mouth as classic Toon Force style, hitting the ground and having his mouth back up in a normal look. And Zuki then thinks to himself, "Oh, I know I'm not gonna like this." Then Zuki goes and looks for Class 1A. He opens the first door, and a woman screams and slaps him. And Zuki then laughs it off, like, then goes to find the door for Class 1A. And he finds it and sees that it's huge. And Zuki then thinks to himself, Alright, I need to do this. Oh, this is gonna suck. Panicking in his mind. And then he opens Class 1A and then hears a frightening sound. "You are violating school policy. And Suki was confused. Making that sound. And looking at Ida and a blonde-haired boy. And looking at them with a confused look on his face. Suki sees that the blonde-haired boy was arguing with Ida. Ha! What did you say? And then Ida says, "You're putting your legs on school property. That's violating school rules." And then Ida was looking at him with a serious look. But then the blonde-haired boy says, "Did your old school have a stick up your ass, or is it just you?" And then Ida says, "Such profound language. Are you sure you're from in the school?" And Bakugo, Ida looks at him with a shocked look. Then he says, "Let me reintroduce myself. My name is Tenya Ida from Somei High." And the blonde-haired boy says, "Somei, huh? Well, aren't you special from a special school? Let me tell you this. Katsuki Bakugo will beat your ass." And then one of the students say, "Hey, it's that kid." And Suki then shuts the door, shaking in fear and saying, "What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?" Frightening in fear of that blonde-haired boy, then felt a hand and says, "Hey there!" And Suki then jumps up in fright and then hits himself on the ceiling out of pure terrified reaction and felt the hit. And then Ochako says, "Are you okay?" And then Ochako says, "Is there a doctor in the house?" And Suki says, "No, I'm fine." Plopping down on the ground. And then Ochako says, "You don't look fine." And then the Ida opens the door and says, "Why are you making..." And looking at Ida with a look of petrified scare and concern. And Ida looks at him like he was injured by somehow unknown reasons. Then they hear a person. "Can you quiet down? It's kind of hard to sleep with your loud noise." And then two of the students look, and Ida was surprised to see a person that was sleeping on the floor. And Suki then looks and was scared out of his life. Ah! Then his whole bit of his heart pumps out. Ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. Then Ochako says, "Whoa! I knew you were interesting, but this is going on a new level." And Ida then says, "You, pink-haired boy, can you stop making so much noise? You're giving me an aneurysm because of this." And Zukia then puts his hands on his mouth, trying to keep quiet. And then Ida says, "Yes, sir. Who are you?" And then the man says, "My name is Zawa, and I'm your teacher. And go in your seats now." And all of them go into their seats and sit there silently. And Zawa says, 45 minutes. Not good. Disappointing." And then Azawa explains, "My name is Shozawa, and I'll be your teacher." And all the students were a bit shocked, and Suku was a bit panicked, transforming into types of things that represent looking like Azawa, turning into a ninja costume, then turning into a scary stalker. Then Azawa looks at Zuki, and Zuki was scared of it. And Zawa says, Are you mocking me, Suku? And Suku then says, And Zawa looks at Suku. And Suku was a bit scared of it. And then Zawa says, I figured what your quirk is. And then Suku thinks, And then Zawa says, Toon Force. Why does it have to be Toon Force? And then Suki was a bit confused on what he means by it. And then Zawa says, alright, go outside and test. We're going to test your quirks. And then all of the students get into their UA sports gear outfits. And then Zawa says, alright, Bakugo, you go first. And he tosses the ball to Bakugo. And Bakugo says, alright. And then Bakugo throws the ball as far as he can. As in cannon. And all the students were amazed. But Zuki was a bit afraid that he might not stack up to the situation in this. And then Exala drops a reality bomb on them. You think this is fun, huh? Well, if one of you gets in last place, then you'll be expelled. How's that? And all of the students and Suki then says, yikes! And then Zawa looks at Zuku's reaction and feels a little bad on this one. But with Zuku, he has to do it on this occasion. And as Zawa explains, well, heroes have to risk lives. They also have to risk their own as well. This situation is about, are you willing to do it? And Zuki then chatters his teeth with his fingernails. And then Chaka tries to calm him down on that. And then all the students get serious. And then, okay, let's get into wacky shenanigans. Okay, running. Okay, I know a lot about how Courage's Toon Force works. Unlike most characters like antagonists, Courage tends to not use much super speed or add much things. I mean, yes, he does have super speed and that, but this is more out of comedic points. So, in technical term, it could be infinite, but it's how much you could laugh about it. So, yeah. Sugu takes about 6, because he's still pretty fast, even with the comedic effect not working on it. And then, agility. Oh yeah, Zuka takes that really easily. Courage is known to be agile, and strength. I can see mostly the standard of how Zuka could try to grip it, but basically not working. Because, well, yes, Zuki could basically grow muscles over time. This is not a comedic factor there. So, all I can see is Suku's arms turning into stone and breaking. Then we get to throwing. And this is where Suki gets very, very desperate on this. And then Suki then thinks, Ariel, what do I do? Getting worried. Then Suki comes up with a plan. And Suki throws the ball and gets out a baseball bat and a baseball protection cap. And Zuko, then we get the music. Dun 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 dun. And Zuko then looks at the ball and swings his bat and hitting the baseball farther away than Baka goes. Yay! Zuko then cheers out in excitement, and Bakugo says, no way! I'll beat his score! And Zawa says, no, you won't. And feeling a weight of what? And feeling a dumbbell on his head, Zawa says, sorry, but as much as I like to see much more of your quirk, Zuko's quirk is not gonna be beaten that easily. Look, seeing the measuring, and Bakugo says, huh? What? And Zawa says, his Toon Force is in more of a desperation situation. As much as you can take the punishment, you can't take him down that easily. And then Suki says, and Zawa says, speak a little English, why don't you? Less gibberish. And Suki says, right. And then Ochako says, wow, I didn't know you have a quirk like that. And Zuki says, and then Zawa says, his quirk is called Toon Force Dog. Toon Force allows him to face any obstacle unless it's funny to the person you see. In basically mixed terms, he's basically invincible if he finds it funny, or the person finds it funny. And then Ochako says, wow, I didn't know that. And Zawa says, gee, have you seen what you can do? And Ochako remembers, oh, right. Remembering the past, that how much damage Suku could do to himself than his opponents. Yeah. Then, showing the ranks, Suku takes, well, 11th. As much as I like to put him higher, Courage's Toon Force is more out of his willing to getting to be much more better. With this, it's kind of the opposite. While he'll do more damage to himself than his, well, others regards. Unless this is Eustace we're talking about, then he would take first place under a, well, Pharaoh second. And that's not even a joke. And then Manel was in last place. And then Manel was afraid. Oh no, I'm going to be expelled. And then Zawa said, do much better next time, Manel. And Manel was shocked, and all of them were shocked as well, that he ain't expelled. Then Momo says, oh, you didn't know? That wasn't a joke. Oh, that was a joke. And Suku looks at Momo. All of them, Class 1A, look at Momo. And Suku falls down and passes out. And all the Class 1A were saying, you could have told us that! And then the next day, Suku gets in class. And all of them were in class. Then they hear somebody coming in. And coming out of the door is All Might! And he introduced himself. Don't worry, because I am here, walking through the door! And all the Class 1A were excited to see All Might. All Might explains that they're making their hero gear and doing a hero course test. Now go to see your uniforms for your hero gear. And all of the students get into their hero gear. And Sukyu's hero gear was made by Muriel, who helped him out. And it looks adorable on him, having a slick hoodie mixed with a nice mix of own colors, and keeping him safe from some circumstances. And Ochako sees Suki and says, oh, that looks great on you. And Suki laughs. And then All Might chooses the teams. And obviously, it's Ochako and Suki versus Bakugo and Ida. And Suki is honestly afraid. And then Ochako cheers on Suki and says, we can do it. Don't let your fears control you, Suki. And then Suki says, great! But no, I'm not gonna like this. And my name is not
Sam, and it's not.
And Choco then laughs a bit. And Suki says, alright, let's go! And that's where I'm ending this video. I hope you liked this video and hope you subscribe. See you next time.